Good morning, everyone, and thanks so much for joining our Japan 2020 digital show for April. I'm Will DuPree here at KXAN in Austin, Texas.
And I'm Andrew Marden, coming to you from KSEE-TV in Fresno, California. As always, it's that time where we update you on news, the latest developments of everything going on related to the Summer Olympics, because our parent company, Nexstar, is sending a team to Tokyo this summer. And fingers crossed, everything goes off without a hitch. I'm looking forward to being there.
That's certainly the hope, Andrew. And you'll be among those journalists going to cover the event. And we are approaching a very big milestone, at least. On April 14th, so just a little over a week away, that will mark 100 days before the opening ceremonies begins. And the postponed Summer Olympics officially start on July 23rd. And Andrew, I don't know about you, but seeing that date right in front of us right there, it fills me with excitement, anticipation, and a little nervousness. So I'm wondering how you're feeling as that trip approaches.
You know, the word that I would use, Will, is probably confident.
Okay.
Definitely more confident that the games are going to take place based on everything we've been seeing and reading and hearing over the last couple of months. You know, you and I have been doing this live stream for quite a few months now, and Aaron Cargyle, of course, was in this chair before me, and we didn't know what Japan 2020 was going to look like. And spoiler alert, we still don't know what it's actually going to look like in Tokyo for the Games, but you see these Olympic trials taking place. You know, you see the news and the information coming from, from outside of Japan, or from in Japan to the rest of the world. The IOC, the USOPC, and everyone is confident that the Games will take place. They'll look a little different, but having the Olympics, you know, the success of the Super Bowl, the success of the NCAA basketball tournament, which ended last night, you can have large gatherings and large-scale events if you do them safely, and they've worked.
Yeah, that is true for sure. And there are some ceremonial things happening already in Japan to lead up to the Games.
That's right. The torch relay, which really, in my mind, Will, is the kickoff to the Olympics. You know, this is a 4-month journey, and it actually began just a couple of weeks ago. It's going to last 121 days. However, there is one area in Japan that's asking not to be a part of the route because of rising cases of COVID-19. We are still in the pandemic, and people are concerned, especially in Osaka, where the leaders are calling for the cancellation of the torch relay leg going through that city. We've got a quote from the mayor of Osaka saying, "When I watch the torch relay elsewhere in Japan, people tend to gather, and those places get crowded. It's very unfortunate, but I think we should call it off." This week, Osaka reported 666 new cases on Saturday, a record high, 593 cases on Sunday, 341 cases yesterday of COVID-19. The president of the Tokyo Olympic Organizing Committee says a decision has not been made about rerouting the torch relay. Previously, torch relay organizers asked people to keep their distance, maintain 6 feet of social distancing, to wear masks, and refrain from cheering when runners pass. They're wearing masks, Will, but I don't think they're abiding by the rest. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a big crowd there for sure. I mean, at least it's encouraging they're wearing masks, so they're at least listening to that part. But the Osaka mayor seems to have a bit of a good point to make right there, and the concern about such a big crowd amassing. Additionally, concerns about COVID-19 and the spread of that have now led Olympic organizers to do 2 major things. One is to ban international spectators, and 2, volunteers from abroad. Organizers said 600,000 tickets were sold to fans from outside Japan. They have promised refunds, but this will be determined by so-called authorized ticket resellers that handle sales outside the country. They also said a limited number of volunteers may be allowed to attend if they have special skills. Now, the president of the International Olympic Committee, Thomas Bach, said he supports both of these decisions.
It's just another expression of respecting the principles the IOC has established from the very beginning for the organization of these postponed games. And that means there is safety first. It's not a decision we have taken or accepted lightly, but again, it's a necessary move, unfortunately.
A necessary move, unfortunately, Andrew, there. And that, of course, confirms long-running rumors about allowing in international visitors and volunteers now, too. And Andrew, this week you got to speak to someone who's really impacted by this decision.
Yeah, somebody who's been to 19 Olympic Games. Well, I've been to two, so I'm just a baby compared to Don Bigsby, who's 80 years old. I had a chance to interview him several months back and kind of get his take on what it's like to be part of the Olympic experience. And, to echo what Thomas Bach was saying, and Will, you and I have talked about this for months, it's not the same if you don't get a chance to compete in front of people from all over the world. One of the best parts, at least for me, about the Olympics is you represent your country. You're competing for more than just a paycheck here. Yeah, if you win a medal, it's nice, but the fact that you are at the Olympics means that you are at the pinnacle of your sport. And somebody like Don Bigsby, he's not an athlete, he's not a coach, but he is definitely a part of the Olympics for pin trading. It's our pleasure right now to speak with Don Bigsby, who's been an Olympic pin collector since 1980. He is the president and founder of Olympin. Now, Don, Lake Placid is really when you kind of got started with your Olympic experience, your Olympic expertise. Are you going to get to go to Tokyo with the latest restrictions of not allowing foreign spectators?
Well, I've been to 19 Olympics, and I thought Tokyo would be number 20, but it's not going to happen for me. It's a big letdown because it's something we've looked forward to, but it's totally understandable. I've thought for months that they were going to issue something cutting back on guests, and each week we hear news of new regulations that they're putting together. I talk to people from National Olympic committees or media folks that are friends of mine are in the Olympian Collectors Club, and they're constantly getting updates on the rules of their credentials and what they're going to be able to do with what's going on with COVID. If they're being this careful, why would they let a bunch of us stand on a street corner, shake hands, exchange items, and so forth? It doesn't make sense, unfortunately.
Don, having talked to you in the past, I know you told me at one point you had about 20,000 pins. That's part of the Olympic experience, right? So if people can't pin trade, what are they missing out on?
Well, to me, it's the fun of the exchange. It's not just getting the pins. It's the experiences and the memories of the people you meet and deal with. But it's a big blow to us not to be able to do it. As the president of the Olympian Club, I'm encouraging people to plan ahead. For instance, our club will be putting on a pin festival, we call it, our annual show. It'll be in Atlanta first weekend in November this year. We're still wrestling with whether or not we're going to be able to pull it off, but we're hoping so, and we're inviting all our members and people to come to the show. Bring your traders, and we'll trade amongst each other as if we're at the games, but we'll be in a hotel in Atlanta.
Just like everything else, Andrew, they're kind of accommodating for the situation.
Yeah, Will. So he wants to recreate the experience at a hotel in Atlanta, which is not the same, of course, as being in Tokyo. It would still let him gather with his friends and fellow collectors over the years, but it's not the same. And, you feel for guys like Don, who he's 80 years old. He was hoping that this would be his 20th Olympic Games, and now he's going to have to wait until hopefully Beijing to get a chance to go again. He told me, by the way, his first Olympics, Lake Placid in 1980, he has not missed an Olympics, or I should say he only missed one Olympic Games to the present, and that was, he didn't go to Pyeongchang, South Korea, but he has gone to 19 of the last 20 Olympics. How impressive is that?
That is incredible. I mean, he's seen so much. He's really lived history going to just trade pins.
That's how it works. It's like a currency over there, and Aaron Cargyle can certainly attest to that. I didn't know how big it was until I went to Rio for the first time. It's also big at Disneyland. So for all you kids out there, if you happen to be watching, if you go to Disneyland, you can pin trade with the castmates. They call their employees cast members when they when you're at Disneyland or Disney World. It's a whole nother element, a whole nother experience, a whole nother lifestyle. But do some research on it. It's a lot of fun, and pins have gotten us. They've gotten us conversation starters. They've gotten us access. Our friend Jack Doles told a story several months ago that He had a chance to go to a Floyd Mayweather fight because he gave a pin to a guy who was like guarding a seat or guarding a door and let him in a certain entrance. So it's a bigger deal than most people think.
Who knew that was such big currency for sure?
Yes, so if there is no pin trading at the Olympics, I will be a little disappointed. And of course, it all circles back to COVID. We have some new numbers to show you, the latest numbers coming out of Japan, courtesy of the World Health Organization. Japan has reported roughly 485,000 cases of COVID-19, 9,231 deaths. The WHO also reporting that Japan has only administered 822,869 doses of the vaccine. Now, when you factor in that the population of Japan is 126 million, the country is behind other countries, far behind the United States and Italy, to name a few. Japan has lifted its state of emergency. That was a few weeks ago, though we mentioned earlier that the rising case counts and strained healthcare facilities have led to Osaka and 2 neighboring areas to be under what they're calling a pre-emergency status. By the way, Will, Osaka is scheduled to host an international figure skating championship next weekend. Skaters from 5 countries. So we'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah, for sure. I did read about that too. I mean, that's interesting. They're going to at least move forward with that. I wonder how the locals are reacting to it. So we'll keep an eye on that for sure. Well, many in Japan are strongly opposing the country holding the Olympics due to concerns about another surge in COVID-19. On the first day of the torch relay, dozens of protesters gathered in Tokyo to once again call on organizers to scrap the event entirely. Several recent public opinion surveys have showed that up to 80% are against holding the Olympics. And again, that is opinion polling from people in Japan, about 80%. Interesting to note, Andrew, as well, that about 80%, that same percentage, is opposed to having international fans come and attend the event. So hopefully that might change kind of some of the at least feelings from the public there about the games.
80% is incredibly high. You know, if a president has an 80% approval rating, he's doing a job that's through the roof.
Right.
But if 80% of the country doesn't want the Olympics there, that's not a good sign. However, and this kind of leads into where we're going with this next, the organizers and Japanese leaders are pressing forward, and the Japanese Prime Minister is inviting U.S. President Joe Biden to attend the Olympics in Tokyo. The Japanese Prime Minister will be in the United States shortly, and he not only is going to invite President Joe Biden, but he's also going to reiterate what Biden has been saying for the last, I think, 2 weeks, that he wants to have administered 200 million doses of the coronavirus vaccine in his first 100 days in office. And he thinks we're going to get there as a country.
Yeah, we are approaching that for sure. Well, the president's other goals, including expanding eligibility for those who can get the COVID-19 shot. I asked Dr. Stephen Thomas, our infectious disease doctor who's joined us for months now talking about COVID-19, about this very issue in a conversation that we had at the end of last week. Let's take a listen. President Biden said that 90% of the adults here in the U.S. will be eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine and have a vaccination site within 5 miles of home by April 19th. Because of that goal, how likely do you think it will be that Olympic athletes will be fully vaccinated by the time the summer games start in the summer?
Yeah, so first of all, I think that is a great goal, and will go a long way towards trying to reach that herd immunity that we all want to achieve. If all adults over 16 years of age are offered vaccination, then obviously that would include most of the U.S. athletes that intend to participate, which is great. And certainly by July, when the games occur, they should be able to get both doses of vaccine or the single dose in the J&J case and be fully immunized by the time they travel. For the bigger picture, though, what does this mean, more holistically in terms of the games? As we know, unfortunately, there's still a great deal of variance internationally in terms of who has access to vaccines and who does not. So I still think, although the United States might be in a good place, it still means a bigger issue that the Japanese have to confront with in terms of hosting the games and having athletes from all over the world come in.
Recently, Olympic organizers also announced that no foreign spectators would be allowed into the events to watch the athletes compete. What was your reaction hearing that announcement? Do you think that's a good idea at this point?
I think it's a very good idea, and I think it's probably absolutely necessary for these games to be able to continue. Again, as you and I have discussed, the priority is to compete, and we want to make sure that that the games can go forward and people can compete. I think if you allow foreign spectators that are coming from multiple different places that have all sorts of different levels of transmission going on right now and all sorts of different levels of vaccine coverage, you just really increase the risk that an infected person will, or infected people will be on site, introduce virus into the games, and potentially, cause a big problem. So I think it's a very smart decision, and it takes into account the most important thing, which is to make sure that the athletes have a safe place to compete.
At least, Andrew, some promising news right there. Dr. Thomas thinking that, vaccinations could at least inoculate and cover athletes that are going over to Japan. But the thing is, other countries are not having as much success or as pace as we are here in the U.S. getting people those shots.
Right, and we're expected to send about 640, 650 athletes over there, but when you factor in, and these are numbers we've been bringing up for months, the Olympics as a whole typically brings about 12,000 athletes, 10 to 12,000 athletes from 200 countries. That's a lot of people in one place, and it's different than an event like the Super Bowl or the NCAA tournament that we just saw, because those are mostly Americans. Here you have people from all over the world. And so you want to make sure that you're doing it safely, that everything is going by the book, and that they can have a good competition where at the end of it they're not thinking we rushed through this thing and people are now more at risk than they were before. By the way, one side note, I'm glad you put his Twitter handle on the screen, because I realized I was not actually following Dr. Thomas on Twitter. So I just made sure that I am following him. He's only tweeted 17 times. So Dr. Thomas, you might want to up your social media game just a little bit. Not that I'm an expert, but 17 times since March of 2020, it's not enough in 2021. We need to hear from you more.
It's good advice for sure. And he's been such a good resource for us, so I know that people on Twitter would love to hear from him too. Pointing out vaccine eligibility here in the U.S., we are expecting President Biden to announce today that he is going to ask governors to move up their deadline to make more people eligible to receive those shots. There's a speech scheduled later today for that in particular, but we want to point out that across the country, eligibility has grown. So here in Texas, where I am, people 16 and older can now get the COVID-19 shot. I actually got mine last Tuesday, so it was at this very time last week, actually. I'm just thinking about that now, that I got my first dose. And I will say that it left my arm pretty sore for that day and maybe the next, and gave me a bit of fatigue. But after that, it passed pretty quickly. And Andrew, you've had a good experience too.
Yeah, first let me ask you, Will, did you get the Moderna one or the Pfizer one? Which one did you get?
I got the Moderna, yeah.
Okay, my parents got the Moderna one, and they were worried about their second shot, because I've heard a couple of horror stories. I've got some close family and friends, I'm sure you do as well too, who say the side effects of the Moderna one, they're a little more extreme than the Pfizer one. I actually got my second dose of the Pfizer shot yesterday, and my experience has been great, although I was supposed to get my second dose on Saturday, but you know how supply and demand works, they ran out. So they said, well, you can come any day, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday of the next week. And I've been reading, like you have too, that with the Pfizer versus the Moderna, it's a 3-week period in between your first and second dose. The Moderna one is 4 weeks, but you need to get your second dose, I believe it's within 42 days of your first dose, in order for you to be fully protected when those additional 2 weeks after you get your second dose run out. But my experience was great. No side effects aside from just having a sore arm. My arm is definitely sore this morning. I got it. I got the shot yesterday at around 12:45 p.m. My arm was sore yesterday. It's a little sore today, but you know what? I've had no other effects, and hopefully by later today, I'm back to 100%. But I'm probably at about 96 to 97%. Just kind of when I lift my arm up a little bit is when I may feel it. But all things considered, I'm pretty happy with the way things have gone for me. When is your second dose?
Mine is on April 27th, so it's later this month. It's actually a few days after my birthday, so I can't think of a better birthday present than that, honestly.
Just make sure you get that COVID vaccination card either laminated or put in a safe place, because you don't want to lose it. The CDC is probably saying we're going to need that to fly and to go into big gathering places in the future. Either that or proof of a negative COVID-19 test. And I'm sure that's going to be as valuable to me as my passport is in Tokyo this summer.
I will imagine, that is going to be a coveted thing to keep around. So, again, we have more headlines to talk about. Andrew, there's a big event that's happening tomorrow for at least journalists here in the U.S.
Yeah, the Virtual Media Summit, Virtual Media Summit, and it's the first time that it's virtual. I've been to 2 of these in person. They are fantastic resources, a chance to get to know these athletes, to get to know the press officers that kind of handle the media requests. It allows reporters to interview these athletes, and we know they're going to be facing a lot of questions about, spectators not being allowed at the Olympics, those are decisions that have been made by the IOC, the USOPC, etc. But something else that we want to bring up is the fact that raised fists and kneeling during the national anthem at Olympic trials will be allowed. That is news that recently came out.
Yeah, under this rule change, if you take a look right here, what happened back during the 1968 Olympics when 2 American sprinters, Tommy Smith and John Carlos, raised their gloved fists on the medal stand, that will be permitted now. The USOPC released a 9-page document to offer guidance about the sort of racial and social demonstrations that will and won't be allowed by the hundreds of athletes who will compete for spots on the U.S. team in various sports. The list of allowable forms of demonstration include holding up a fist, kneeling during the anthem, and wearing hats or face masks with phrases such as Black Lives Matter or words such as equality or justice. Not allowed, though, are hate symbols as defined by the Anti-Defamation League, and actions that would impede others from competing, like lying down in the middle of the track per se. That's a big change.
It absolutely is. This is something we've never seen before from an organizing body this big, but it goes with the times. And we kind of started to see it last summer. All those protests, which really got sparked with the George Floyd murder. But you've got athletes who are utilizing the worldwide stage and their platform, and what the IOC and the USOPC doesn't want to have happen is that it takes away from the spirit of competition, good sportsmanship, etc. But these are topics that people, it's at the forefront of people's minds. And so I personally like the fact that they are trying to engage with these athletes and let them speak their mind as long as they do it peacefully. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, they seem to be listening for sure.
We've got some wrestling headlines for you. The Olympic trials for wrestling took place this past weekend, and a huge shocker, Will. Jordan Burroughs is not going to the Olympics. He is a decorated American wrestler, a name that has been associated with U.S. wrestling since 2011. Jordan Burroughs lost his final match at the U.S. trials this past weekend in Fort Worth, Texas. And he's 32 years old. He won gold at the 2012 Olympics in London. He has represented the U.S. at the World Championships or the Olympics every year since 2011. Burroughs lost to Kyle Dake, whose victory earned him his first chance to compete at the Olympics. So you're happy for Kyle Dake, but you're thinking, wow, this guy must be really, really good, Dake I'm talking about, to upset a heavy favorite here.
Yeah, and those pictures we were just showing on the screen really show the frustration and disappointment on Jordan Burroughs' face. I mean, after all that success, though, he should be so proud, but I know that has to be hard to deal with that loss.
And it's further proof that you may be on top of your game, but there might be somebody out there that wants to knock you off that, that platform, that pedestal, somebody who might be just a little bit better than you in any given moment. But yes, Burroughs has a gold medal. At 32 years old, who knows how much longer he was going to compete, and so this might be his last chance because the next Olympic Games will be in 4 years, and once you get to the other side of 30, not that it's old in the real world, but from an athlete's standpoint, it's funny. Aaron Rodgers guest hosted Jeopardy last night. I don't know if you had a chance to see it. Actually, the national championship game wasn't that great, so I actually flipped over to watch Jeopardy last night because on the West Coast, Jeopardy comes on at 7 p.m. Pacific time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was right around late first half between Gonzaga and Baylor, and I'm thinking he's really good and he's really smart, and we knew that he was smart. That he's got this football background, but he really has an acumen for the game. And I'm thinking to myself, Aaron Rodgers is only in his late 30s, but he looks so much older because of how he conducts himself. Obviously the facial hair, kind of adds a few years to him. Mm-hmm. But that's not old. You know, he's what, 37, 38 years old? He's not old. Jordan
No.
Burroughs at 32 is not old. But in the sports world, you're considered past your prime when you're in your 30s. So hopefully Jordan Burroughs will get a chance in 4 more years, but you kind of have to wonder if this might have been it for him.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have to wait and see. Also, not making it to the Olympics this time either, the U.S. men's soccer team. The U.S. missed its 3rd straight chance to advance to the Olympics after losing to Honduras in a qualification game last month. And the photos from the match showed just how disappointed the players were exactly. In contrast, the women's tournament is open to some senior national teams, and the U.S. has won 3 of the last 4 soccer gold medals, and the women are once again favored to win this summer. But again, such a disappointment for them too. I think they were obviously seeking to break that streak of not making it to the Olympics, but maybe they can in another 4 years.
Maybe. This is really disappointing, and quite frankly, it's a little embarrassing for a country that has, you know, I mean, the United States has a lot of resources, has a lot of talent, but we're also in this conversation right now where, you know, especially Megan Rapinoe on the women's soccer team side,
Right.
there have been some outspoken athletes talking about the lack of equality when it comes to attention, when it comes to pay, and the women's team, which is going to be going for a gold medal, and the men's team that won't be there, it's just going to make those statements echo a little bit louder. So we've talked wrestling, we've talked soccer. Now we're going to talk a little golf, which returned to the Olympic Games in Rio after a 112-year absence. Dustin Johnson, who this week is going to try and win the Masters for the 2nd time, and not for the 2nd time in a year, for the 2nd time in a few months, because last year the Masters was held in November, just a few months ago, because of COVID-19. Dustin Johnson is the #1 ranked golfer in the world. He will not tee it up in Tokyo at the Summer Olympics. He confirmed that he took himself out of consideration for one of the spots on the American team, and there is a maximum of 4 spots. You have to be ranked in the top 15 in the world to be eligible. Dustin Johnson said that it comes during a, quote, big stretch of golf for him. He's choosing to stay home instead of the lengthy travel that would be required between the U.S. and Japan. In 2016, he also had a chance to compete for the U.S., but he said he didn't want to compete in 2016, and he used Zika as his reason for not going. I don't know why he wouldn't want to compete, but he's not the only one. In 2016, you had several of the top-ranked golfers in the world, Dustin Johnson, Jordan Spieth, Rory McIlroy, Jason Day. They all said they didn't want to go. But then you had some golfers like Matt Kuchar, who won a bronze medal for the U.S., and he said, and I love this quote, he never had more people celebrate him for a 3rd-place finish in his life. He was that thrilled and that excited to not only be an Olympian, but to win a medal. But I don't know why somebody wouldn't want to do this. He's got a ton of money. Take a couple of weeks off on the PGA Tour, go compete for your country. I would do that if I was in his position.
Interesting. I mean, everybody's got a different reason for sure, but maybe that opens the lane for somebody else to come in and win a medal there.
Possibly, yeah. Henrik Stenson, or Justin Rose won gold, Henrik Stenson won silver, and Matt Kuchar won bronze. I'm a big golf fan, in case you can't tell.
I can tell, yeah.
Having golf at the Olympics is great, because I had a chance to go to the Rio course, and it was a terrific course, which I haven't really followed up with it. I hope that they're still utilizing it. The plan was they would build it out for the Olympics, and then they would recreationally open it up to the general public. But golf is a worldwide sport. Baseball and softball are back on the Olympic docket this summer. They had been taken off since 2008. Of course, you know, we've talked at length about the new sports that are coming on board. Surfing is an Olympic sport. Skateboarding is an Olympic sport. We've got breakdancing coming in Paris in 2024.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have golf there because it's played every week. You turn on your TV any weekend, you see it on national TV, and of course, recreational golfers like myself. I'm not a good golfer, but I like to go hack it up on the golf course every once in a while. People play it all over the world, so why shouldn't it be an Olympic sport?
I know.
If I were in Dustin Johnson's shoes, this is my little rant here, I would absolutely go. He's got enough money. He's got, you know, a couple of major championships. Go see if you can win an Olympic medal. But that's just my...
Well, Dustin, if you're listening, Andrew has an opinion about it, so maybe that'll change his mind. Who knows?
If I was the #1 golfer in the world, I would want to go represent my country and try and win on the big stage.
I mean, a gold medal would be nice to have on the trophy case, you know, next to every other thing you have out there.
But even if you don't win, you can still say you're an Olympian. You get to carry that moniker with you for the rest of your life.
True. Well, before we go, we also want to tell you about something that's really cool that's popped up here somewhat recently, and it was started by 4 female Olympians. Snowboarder Chloe Kim, swimmer Simone Manuel, basketball player Sue Bird and soccer star Alex Morgan all came together to create Together. This is a new media and commerce company that aims to create a, quote, unapologetic platform where representation and equality is the norm. Now, this is some video from their website there. You can see that they have some really beautiful pictures of the four founders right there. But they also are wanting this as a chance to showcase and highlight athletes that may not get the spotlight from the mainstream, people that are kind of outside of that. And it's a really cool thing. They have a big presence on social media, on Twitter and Instagram, so I'd suggest giving it a follow because they really put a lot of time and effort into this, and it is really cool, Andrew.
That is some star power right there. Those names that you just listed off,
Huge.
Will, they are such accomplished athletes, and again, it goes back to what we're talking about. Maybe not a direct comparison with the with the allowing of protests, but you've got athletes who have a platform and they're using it to let their voice be heard. I love it. I think it's great, and I do hope that they can enact some positive change both in our country and in the world. And they can certainly use the Olympics to promote their brand, which I'm sure their handlers, their agents, their press officers will be all too comfortable with doing.
Yeah, for sure. And it's amazing that they have used their platform to showcase other people. If you go on their Instagram, for instance, they've highlighted athletes that really have not gotten any media attention, but they are shining the spotlight on them and hopefully, kind of grooming this next generation of female athletes that are coming up in the sports world. So I think it's really fun and cool.
Yeah, and we've seen like Derek Jeter, for example, when he retired from the New York Yankees, he started the Players Tribune, which was it was an online medium and a chance for athletes to speak their mind. Because usually, you and I are both journalists. When we talk to people out in the community, we're not getting them, we're not getting them exposed. They understand that what they're saying is going to be recorded, either video and audio or sometimes just audio or comments or quotes or whatever it is. And so they're not necessarily just going to bear all because they understand that they have to, they have to maintain a certain level of professionalism.
Yeah.
But if you can write your own narrative, it gives you more freedom to be able to, to kind of weave that thread in a way that benefits you. So I like it. I really do like it, and I only know a little bit about it, a little bit more than what you just read. But my hope is that I'll maybe not be an expert, but I'll do some more research on it. And if I get the chance to talk to any of those four fine women at the Olympics, I will absolutely ask them about that because again I do think that anything like this that sparks a conversation is good for our country. And that's really what all those protests last summer have done. They've kept the conversation ongoing. So whatever side of the aisle you stand on, at least it's not something that's buried anymore. It's something that we're all talking about as a population. Yeah,
for sure. Well, Andrew, and everybody that's watching, thank you all for doing so. This comes to the end of our digital show for Japan 2020 for April 2021. We've been doing this for a while now and still awaiting the games to start in July. And of course, we'll cover every headline for you all, and we'll see you back here next month.
Yeah, thanks everyone. 30 minutes just flew by really quickly, Will, and it's still funny to me that we're talking about Japan 2020 in 2021. April of 2021.
I know.
But if you've seen the way that they've written it out, it's actually 2020NE. So they're trying to make it 2021 within the framework of 2020, which is actually pretty cool. And I like the fact that they're keeping it as Tokyo 2020 because that's when the game should have taken place. Yeah. You want to recognize, of course, what we've all been through as a society. But I've gotten my 2 doses, and my second one was yesterday. In 2 weeks, I'll be, at full protection. You're pretty close to that, and we know that those numbers are going up pretty much every single day, and every single day exponentially. So hopefully we can take off those masks pretty soon.
I hope so, too. Well, Andrew, thank you again for joining us. Everybody who's watching, we appreciate you watching. Be safe and stay healthy. Take care. We'll see you back here on May 4th. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody.
Bye, everyone.